Scott, and this is Great Scott Knitting, a vlog podcast thingy. Welcome to episode 25. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new to this channel and to this vlog, thanks for trying it out. I hope you like what you find here, and welcome. Today is Saturday, June 26th of 2021. The heat wave here in Wichita has been continuing over the past couple of weeks. I think we've hit 100 a couple of different days, and usually with a heat index around 105 to 110. Humidity is like around the anywhere from 50% to 90%, depending upon the time of day. Today it was 84 degrees with a humidity of around 70%. So very warm and sticky and uncomfortable and gross and very much margarita weather. So I've, where was it? I can't remember. I saw this little video, but anyway, this little video about a song that someone had discovered. It was actually kind of an older song, but the main chorus goes, take life with a little bit of salt, lime, and tequila. So that's kind of been my theme song during this heat wave. I have not actually had a margarita, but by golly, I would really like one. I am not yet going out to bars or restaurants or any place that you would eat inside. That's not going to happen for me probably till next year, maybe. I'm still wearing a mask when I go into stores. I just can't do it. I cannot, just can't do that. I have to wear my mask when I go out into stores. I am, if I'm doing something entirely outside, then I don't wear a mask as long as I can stay away from people. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Even though I've been vaccinated, I am still keeping it very careful. Actually, my biggest issue right now is I wish I could social distance myself away from mosquitoes. When I get mosquito bites, I get these terrible, huge, massive reaction bites. They're terrible. My legs are the worst. I usually don't get them on my arms or anyplace else, but on my legs, I get these terrible welts that are itchy. They keep me up at night. I hate the summer. I hate the heat. And I hate the bugs, especially mosquitoes. And flies. Kansas has a terrible, terrible black fly issue in the summertime. But especially mosquitoes. Ugh. That's why I like the winter. Everybody's like, oh, but the summer, it's warm, it's great. Yeah, it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky. There's only so many clothes I can take off before I get arrested. In the wintertime, I can always put on another shawl. So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. So a couple of things. I am in the midst of my very first knit along, crochet along, craft along type thing. So I hope some of you out there are playing along. It started back on Memorial Day. It's going to run through the end of July. On July 31st will be the end of it. So after that point, I will be choosing an entry, if you will, of anyone who has completed or is working on a project. If you have shared any of that either on Instagram or on in Ravelry. I do have a Ravelry page. A few of you have gone to that. But if you share it in either one of those places, you will be entered for a drawing for some of my skeins of yarn that I am going to dye up, probably with whatever colors you choose, to some extent. So anyway, the knit along is to knit a shawl or pattern by Josh Ryks-Robinsky. He has a pattern shop on Ravelry, so go check that out. Which actually, between now and July 4th, you still have time to jump in because he's running a sale on his patterns, a 25% off sale on all of his patterns. So go to his pattern shop right now. Well, as soon as this podcast is over, don't leave me yet. But go to his channel or go to his shop on Ravelry. Purchase a shawl for 25% off. That's really nice. He's not doing it for me, but he is having a sale, which in a way kind of celebrates his new pattern, which he just put out this week, called Astera. Let's see. Do I have a copy of it? Now, let me see if I can bring that up real quick. It will just take one moment. It is an interesting pattern in that it is, there it is. It is 2 fingering weight yarns held double or worsted weight. Probably a relatively light worsted weight. Could probably get away with DK. But it's really pretty. I love the I love just that look of it. Actually, let me also find it one other place that I want to show it. So patience, hold on. I'll be right with you. Because I think it's so pretty. I really do want to knit it. Probably not for this month. There it is. Okay. Hang on. 1 second. Almost there. Here we go. Let me share this. Okay, so there he is. There's the designer. There is that lovely shawl. There is one more image of it. There it is. You can see these lovely, great big eyelets which are in it, which I think are going to be so much fun. So yeah, this will be very interesting. So I want to, I do hope to knit this one up. Probably this year sometime, because I really do like it. It looks really pretty, and I love giant. I've gotten to the point where I love giant eyelets. I just love that feature. So yeah, so his patterns. Get back on topic. So choose one of his patterns to knit. He only designs knitwear. If you are a crocheter and you want to play along, feel free. I would love that. Find some pattern that uses 2 or 3 different colorways of yarn, be it a shawl, a blanket, or whatever you want, and jump in, play along. So to enter to win any of my skeins of yarn that I might dye up for you, on Instagram, it is hashtag GreatScott Knitting KAL 2021. I'll pop that hashtag in the show notes so you can see that, and I might even pop it up down here somewhere on the screen. Or you can go to Ravelry. Again, the link to that will be in the show notes. To enter it into the Ravelry community group page that I have. So that is that for the knit along. I hope you are enjoying that process of knitting some of Josh's shawls. I think they're very fun. I think they're very inventive, and the color work is really a lot of fun as well. There, I've said it. Now, on to the knitting, which is why you're here, right? Of course, to talk about the knitting. That's why I'm here, technically. So I did complete in the last 2 weeks. I do have a finished object. I'm very happy to say that. Now the finished object is my first, um, my original entry for my Josh Ryks-Robinsky knit along for 2021, and this is his bride shawl. Come back here way so you can sort of see the whole thing. Again, you can see great big eyelets that are so much fun. And here's it up close. It has some slip stitch work, which is really fun as well as these giant eyelets. And then, of course, on the bottom, we have these short row shaped points that are fun. So there is that. Now, the yarn that I used is Universal Yarn Deluxe DK Superwash. So it is Superwash Merino, or actually, no, just Superwash wool. It is not Merino, so it's a little toothy, but not bad. It is actually a very pleasant feel to it. Has a great drape. Originally, even as I was knitting it, I was going, I'm not thrilled. I mean, the pattern I'm thrilled about. I love the pattern. The pattern is absolutely brilliant. But I wasn't thrilled with my color choices and how they were playing out. I think that the light blue, which is called Summer Sky, and the Steel Cut Oats, which is that gray, are too close together in intensity. And then the Nitrox blue, which is that royal blue, is a good strong color, but the Summer Sky just doesn't compete with it very well. And so I wasn't exactly excited about my color choices. But after I put it up online and saw some of the pictures and saw people's reactions to it being very positive, not that I was that influenced by other people's opinions about it, but I grew to like it. I grew to understand its appeal, and it is nice. And when you wear it, it plays well. It tones things down. Has a nice look to it. Of course, in the middle of 100-degree weather, it's not bad because the air conditioning is on full blast. But I don't know, it wears well. It looks nice when it's bunched like this. But yeah, it's a nice piece. So I was very excited to get it done. I was very excited to share it with people because I did love the pattern. It's very easy. Just the slip stitches, and it's just slip stitches, garter. You have the giant these giant eyelets, and then some short row shaping at the bottom. So it was fun. Highly recommended. I did some dyeing last weekend. Yes, I did some dyeing last weekend. So there is another pattern by Josh Ryks-Robinsky that I'm very interested in knitting. Let me show that to you real quick. It is called Stained, and for me at least, it is quite reminiscent of stained glass. And so that's what it makes me think of when I look at this. So it's got some large sort of monochrome section, or whatever, a large solid color section. And then there's these panels of variegated yarn. And then there's some and I'm not sure how this is done, but I'm very interested in learning it. But this striping section with these crosshatch business going on, which I think looks really interesting. I just love the interplay of the solid with the variegated. I really want to do it. It makes me think about stained glass. That's why. That's what I think the term stained is about. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm taking it. So I didn't have anything in my stash that I thought would work, which I wanted something highly variegated, multicolored, but sort of focusing on blue, then a good, strong, but not too dark of a solid or semi-solid. So for the semi-solid, I dyed up these black and gray tonal. It's kind of blown out. It's a lot darker. If I bring it back this way, you can kind of tell it's a lot darker, but definitely variegated. So there's gray, light grays along with the dark grays. So I'm kind of thinking, and then because this is like 430 yards and the pattern calls for like 470. So I also dyed up a 20-gram mini to go with it in case I need it. So I have this extra. So that is going to be that base color to that pattern. Again, not a black, but more, it's definitely a tonal. So I'm very excited about that. And so then for the variegated section, I dyed up this. Let's see, if I put it up here, you can see it. It's a little blown out, not terribly. But yeah. So again, just use primary colors with this, and some space dyeing and then some over dyeing. So I got this lots of blues, but also lots of reds. The reds were a lot more powerful than I expected. And then of course with doing, so I started off with the reds, the red and the yellow as space dyeing on two I had all the yarn in a pot, and so did yet red on one side and yellow on the other. And then once that was absorbed, picked up the skein, loosened it up a lot, and then dumped a bunch of blue on it. And so you can see there's some greens, there's some oranges. There's not as much purple as I was expecting, but there is some. And so it's kind of this rainbow stained glass kind of effect to it, which is very fun. And yeah, I really think it turned out nicely. So I also dyed up a mini of that. And get this back in order. Poof. And generally in good shape. But I also dyed up the little 20-gram mini to go with that as well. So I have this. Can you see it all? Yeah. So I have this going on for the stained shawl by Josh Ryks-Robinsky. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know. I might be able to get that, cast that on and get that done before the end of July. But if there's another project I have to get done before that. Remember I told you I wasn't perfectly excited about the colors that I chose for the Thrive shawl, even though people did receive it very nicely. So I remember last time when I received my order for the Blue Fiber Company, another Josh? That sounds right. Mr. Stein, who is the dyer behind Blue Fiber Company. Anyway, I cast on another Thrive shawl with his absolutely gorgeous colors, and I am maybe 3/4 of the way done, and I am actually much more thrilled with how this is turning out. We've got the this is the his Cashmerino, which is an 80% superwash merino 20%, no, 10%, 80%, and then 20% cashmere in this sort of buff colored tonal called Calicotta. Then a variegated sort of brown and very autumnal sort of looking skein of yarn called Luge or Lug. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Lugh. Pronounce it as you wish. Luff. I don't know. And then this very lovely dark brown called Umber, and is that third color. And I think I love how it's coming out. And I especially love this interplay of the variegated with the umber. Because a lot of the colors play really well with that brown. So it's a very autumn looking shawl. And of course, with it being DK, it has a little extra warmth and weight to it. Not particularly appropriate for summer, but I love these colors. And let me tell you, this feel of I wish I could share the feel of this yarn. I really do. It is so soft. It is so luxurious. If you have not purchased skeins of yarn from Blue Fiber Company, the link is in the show notes below. If you haven't bought any of his yarn, please treat yourself. This stuff is so good. His Cashmerino base, I think he has a Cashmerino DK and a Cashmerino sock, or at least a fingering weight. It's so, oh my god, it is just so. That's the best most I can say about it. It's so. Okay, so that's coming along. That should be done within the next couple of weeks. And so then I will probably cast on Stained after that. I am also working on my June socks, which are making progress. And this is still the first sock, so I don't know that I'm going to have them done this next week. I really don't think I will. But, so be it. I got a late start this month. Late start this month. Anyway, and I didn't change my pattern, but I changed my stitch count from a 64 to a 72. And I'm liking the fit a bit better this time around. So here is the yarn is Manos de Uruguay Alegria sock base in the colorway called Cabaret. Blacks and pinks and whites, which is knitting up like this. It has some very fun pooling. This is the foot or the sole of the sock, and this is how it is on the top. Isn't that just fun? Oh, I just love how it's pooling and flashing. Oh my god, it's so much fun. So I can't wait to see how I'm right at the gusset. And so I can't wait to see how it turns and moves up. But I love how it's going. It's just because the additional stitch count, it's going slower for me. That and work is very, very busy. Oh my god. I am training virtually. This past week, I was training in one classroom, between 70 and 80 students. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. And by fun, I mean not so much fun. But, so I was very, very busy. Not a lot of time to sit and knit. So yeah. Oh, the pattern I use for my socks is Sockmatician's Toe Ups. It's more of a recipe for socks, not a particular pattern. Those are vanilla socks that I'm doing. One of these days I need to do a contrasting color for the toe, heel, and cuff. Maybe I'll do that in August. We'll see. So are those all my... No, one more. One more work in progress. And by that, I have it to do, but I don't know that I've actually made any progress on it. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I made any progress on my exploration station. But here it is. Here's where I'm at. Kind of the same position I think I was in before. Um, but yeah, it's coming along. I like it. I like the exploration station. It's a lot of fun to knit. I enjoyed it the first time around when I was using I think I was using a DK weight. And so to be he was so big. Oh my god. It was a precursor to his Schlankets. Um, Doing that with my own yarn, which is a BFL base. Uh, yes, yes, 100% superwash BFL in my own colorway, which was dyed with food coloring. So it's that those really sort of um, pale pastel colors with kind of very uh, non in your face, but I still like it. I think it's going to be prettier than the first one I did because the first one I did was a little too fiesta for my taste. I chose bad colors. I'm not, that is one of the challenges I think I really have is choosing when it comes to multicolored shawls or multicolored anything, choosing really good color combinations. That's something I need to work on. Either I'm too conservative or sometimes I just go too out there and don't pick things that go really well together. I'm working at that. I'm getting much better at that. This was a great example. My when what was that one that I knit? Oh, Color Strike by Josh Ryks-Robinsky. I thought I made some really good choices, but I wasn't as happy with Thrive, although it looks great. I mean, to be honest, it does look very nice. I just was wanting something more. And my second color choices, I think, is the more I was wanting. So I'm liking it. I really am. Okay, so I have three things on. I have two shawls and my socks. Um, that's kind of how my summers usually go. I maybe I'll sometime maybe before the end of summer I'll throw some a scarf on some needles and go with that. Um, yeah, I've actually been kind of thinking about getting a full set of straight needles, 10 inches long. I have a set of Susan Bates that I've been using for years. Oh my God, I've been using these for years. When I use straight needles, these are my go-tos. And I don't use straight needles very often. I'm usually using circulars. But when I do straight needles, which is oftentimes I'll do straight needles for scarves. About 6 inches long. So these 10-inch ones are perfect for that. I don't like the 14s. It's just like feel like I'm grinding on things when they're that big. So I like the 10-inch, and I'm considering getting a full set of 10-inch nicer straight needles, um, metal. I'm not a big wood fan. I love the look. Oh, I absolutely find the look of like rosewood needles and maple and all. I think they're gorgeous. I just don't particularly care to knit with them. They're much stickier than I'm used to. Um, I do have a set of the circular interchangeables of the Knit Picks Carbons, that have a little stickiness to them. That carbon coating that they have on those needles, which is a little sticky, which is great, and it has helped me relax my gauge a little bit, which I needed because I had started. It was going down a road of knitting very tight. So that has helped me loosen my gauge, relax it. I'm a little bit closer to like the standard gauge that you see on ball bands. And that has helped me. But yeah, so that's one of the things I'm considering as a future acquisition is some additional straight needles. I don't know, I have started eyeing another set of circulars, but this time the oh well, I can't remember the English word for it. No, I can't remember the word. That's just period. Sucks getting old. Anyway, I'm considering. Oh, Chow Goo. There it is. As soon as I said that I wasn't going to do it, was going to let it go, it came to me. A set of Chow Goo circulars, interchangeable. But I don't know. I have two sets of knit picks, which are just fine. I'm not thrilled with the join, but they're okay. Yeah, so I've told you what I'm going to cast on next, which will be the Stained Shawl by Josh Ryks-Robinsky. I, as much as I have in my own mind, I don't know if I've said this out loud, as much as my own mind is I'm not particularly fond of the Vertices Unite shawl. Everyone's knitting it, and everyone's talking about how much fun it is, and how much they've enjoyed putting together the colors, and of course that scares the crap out of me because you can. That's not one of those areas I think I have a lot of expertise in. Part of me is like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to knit that, to learn those techniques. But instead, I think if I'm the next time I go down the Stephen West path, I think I'm going to do some of his stained glass patterns, or bubble patterns, and use, because I have, having done all like a half a year of socks now, and some other shawl projects, I'm starting to get a rather decent collection of small balls of fingering weight yarn that are all sort of in the same boat. In fact, I have two Ziploc baggies of anywhere from like 10 to 20 grams balls of fingering weight yarn that I think would be great in a project. Now the trick is picking, getting the putting those various colorways together in a way that looks appealing, and having that good base color that sits around them. Again, that's kind of where I get a little nervous because my choices in the past have not thrilled me. Other people I think have been perfectly fine with them, but it's myself that I'm like, I'm not so sure. It's one of those areas that I should probably just say, screw it. It's my colors. I can do what I want. Maybe that's what I really should do, is just say, screw it. I can do what I want. Maybe, what, next time I go to pick some colors, I'm going to have, 2 or 3 margaritas and take life with a grain of salt. Okay. So, that's really all the knitting stuff. Is that all the knitting stuff? Yeah, that's all the knitting stuff. Now, I did sort of allude to the fact that I'm wanting to start dyeing yarn to sell. I've alluded to that, haven't I? I think I have. And I shared with you some of my colorways that I'm thinking of doing last time, 2 weeks ago. And I'm still, actually, I'm feeling very confident about those colors and moving forward there. There's just a few pieces of equipment that I need to get to be at a point where I feel I can really start dyeing up some skeins. And so it's sort of, for right now, it's a waiting game to get, because what I need is a 2-burner hot plate, which I think is the key thing that I need. And then there's just some other little ancillary things that I really don't absolutely have to have right now. I can do I can dye skeins of yarn, but it's the hot plate that I absolutely have to have. Because I don't want to do this in the kitchen. I want to do it in the garage with a hot plate. So I'm not heating up the house with steamy water in the middle of the summer. I want to do it in the garage so it doesn't matter. So I'm the only one who's inconvenienced, not the entire household. Anyway, so if you're sitting back and wondering, and if any of you are actually chomping at the bit for this, no one has said so, but if you're quietly back there going, wow, I wonder if he's ever going to put out some yarn, I'm waiting for some stuff. I actually have to purchase it first, and then I have to wait for it to be shipped, but it's just a waiting game for me. I have to be everything has to be in line for me, like financial, you know, the money that I want to spend has to be there, and then sort of very conservative in this fashion. It's like I have to have the money there, and then I have to have the replacement, you know, the money there that's also going to replace the money I'm spending. So it's like I have to have double the amount of money that I need to be able to do this, so I feel comfortable that I'm not the man to go into business with, because I would be very slow about spending money. That's one of the things that's kind of a challenge for me. My husband is always like, why don't you just spend it, just go. It's like, it makes me uncomfortable to do that. And kind of, I grew up poor, so I'm very, very cognizant of money matters. And having also spent a year unemployed, living off of savings, I was just not very reticent to just spend on myself for things that I want and not just things that I need. There, I've said it. But this is something that is happening this summer, I promise you. Anyway, enough about that blather. So top 5 podcasts for this week. My top 5 podcasts are right now, ChemKnits Tutorials, Rebecca Brown, who does the ChemKnits tutorials. If you have not watched it and you have any interest in indie dyed yarn, she is someone you should become familiar with. Her podcast is something you should definitely watch. She's a very, very good teacher when it comes to dyeing yarn. She's consistent, she's clear, she has multitudes of examples, and she has been doing this vlog on YouTube for like 5 years or more. And so there is a wealth of videos, like 2 or 3 a week for 5 years. Different dye styles, different dyes, from food coloring and Kool-Aid to jacquard and Pez, or not Pez, but Paz, Easter egg dye, and you name it. She's played with different dyeing options. So check out her YouTube channel. She's great. She's just this past week, and the reason she's in my top 5 this week is this past week she's been doing her summer mini skein series. So, you know, everybody does like an advent calendar. She does an advent calendar, but she's really not an advent calendar. It's a Hanukkah calendar that she does during the holidays in December. And what she'll do is, over the late summer, she dyes up her Hanukkah set, her Hanukkah mini skein sets, and the yarn that she's going to sell for that, and videos it. And then during Hanukkah, on each night of Hanukkah, she releases the video for the skeins that are being opened on that night. And so you sort of have that joy of watching those skeins being dyed. Well, she's also does that in the summer. So in late winter, early spring, she dyes the yarn and films it and sells it, and then ships it out, and then releases the videos the week of the summer solstice. And again, you open up your skeins and see how they're dyed. So that's kind of cool. It's really a lot of fun. So I've been watching those. I did not buy her mini skeins because I'm not a big at yet. This could change very soon. I'm not a big mini skein fan because I don't do a lot of those types of projects yet. I have a feeling I might get turned on to those. So there's that. ChemKnits tutorials, link in the show notes. Secondly, the next one. Again, these are in zero order. There's no order to this. I have rediscovered, started paying more attention to Stephen West's YouTube vlog. Partially because he's being more consistent about posting on it a lot of how-tos featuring his shawls, like different techniques about his shawls. Lots of discussion about color choices because he is a master at color choice. I really do think so. He's more inventive, more daring than I am, but I think he's still a master at color choice and putting colors together that really work at different levels. Some are more garish, some are more muted, some are more pedestrian, but they're always very interesting color choices. And so I'm learning a lot from him by watching his YouTube channel and having him discuss why he picks different colors and how he pairs things together. So it's being very helpful for me. I have considered, and actually I've done a little bit of watching of other videos around color theory, but most of those videos are around the visual arts of painting, and so it's similar but not quite the same. So to have him discuss how he chooses colors and how he pairs things together is very good, as well as the knitting tutorials on different techniques. So I highly recommend it. He's actually a very good teacher. If you've ever watched his videos, you're not surprised by that. So yeah, give him a look, see as well. The third vlog I want to talk about today is Piece for Piece crafting. Everybody loves Michael. I love Michael. He's so cool. He's actually one of the cooler people on YouTube right now, if you ask me, especially in the fiber world. He's taken up spinning, and from the evidence that I've seen, he's doing a bang-up job of it too. No worries, that is not something I'm going to be taking up anytime soon. I tried drop spinning once and didn't work for me. My fear is that if I actually started learning how to do it correctly with like a spinning wheel or something like that, that I might really enjoy it, and then, oh Lord, my husband would not be happy. Actually, he'd probably be thrilled. He'd be like, go, do it, yeah. He's much more daring than I am. Anyway, Piece for Piece crafting. He's a really good knitter. He's actually a very fast knitter because he really cranks out the projects a lot faster than I do. He's a former dancer, so he has a really good aesthetic, an artistic eye for things. And so I really like his knitting. I love his show. So check him out if you haven't already. It's really good. Um, Another little guilty pleasure I have is Happy Knits. Happee Knits. Yolanda and her son slash sidekick Jordan. They have been around for actually quite a long time. He's gone from like maybe 10 years. It's like he has grown up on the show. It's really kind of interesting. I've looked back to their first episode where I think Jordan was like maybe 10 years old, and now he's like 16. Um, and he still does this show with his mother, which I think is absolutely the sweetest thing. And the mother teenage son banter and interaction is very interesting. She's a very good knitter. She's actually a very good podcaster. She also does other side jobs like canning and crafting of other kinds of things. But a very good show, lots of fun. Definitely check them out. They're fun to watch. And number 5, and believe me, not because of any other reason other than he was the fifth person, or the fifth show I thought about that I haven't already featured, and is probably one that I never miss. His episodes is Ross at Smells Like Yarn. He's from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. One of the more interesting gentlemen, probably has more yarn than most yarn stores that I have ever seen. Simply from what you can see from his podcast, and then when he talks about the various bins that are around his house and that fill his basement, he has a lot of yarn. Not to mention the fact, I don't think very many weeks go by that he doesn't get a yarn delivery where he gets in new yarn. And then, of course, he knits constantly, I think, it seems. If you've not knit a Ross hat, you should. It's a free pattern. It's probably one of the most perfect quintessential hat patterns out there. It's easy, it's clear, and it's very adaptable. He has a base pattern for most all weights of yarn. So whether you want to do a chunky hat or a fingering weight hat, he has a pattern for you. And you can easily adapt it to your head size, which I've had to do because my head's a little bit smaller than most, it seems. So I always have to make my hats smaller. Anyway, check out Smells Like Yarn. He's really cool. I have enjoyed watching his show for a year. A little more than a year, actually. I was going to say for years I've watched his show. No, it's really just been a year. But God, what a year it's been. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. So what else have I been watching? I binged over this past week. I binged The Bad Batch on Disney Plus, and it was woefully too short. I wanted to watch more. It is the continuation of the Clone Wars, basically featuring a clone troop who are somewhat, they were towards the latter end of the cloning processes of the clones that were being made, and they were somewhat a little bit genetically different in that their chip in their brain, which was used to control the clones, was they had some genetic defects that made that chip obsolete and that it didn't function as correctly. So when Order 66 came down, they were not susceptible to its programming. And so the storyline is about how they became sort of a rogue team of clone troopers after the Clone War, after Order 66, and sort of what their world is like. And they have a sort of a main focus of what they're doing. And I think it's 8 episodes long. I wished it was like 30 episodes long because I would have loved to continue watching, and on and on and on. It's very good. It's animated like the original Clone Wars, um, but just really good. Oh my God, so good. So I cannot wait to see more of The Bad Batch. If you haven't watched it, go check that out. What else have I watched? Oh, my husband and I started watching Downton Abbey. We missed the whole thing when everybody else was watching it over the past 6 years. Um, totally, we knew it was going on, but we weren't part of that. Then he started watching little snippets of it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. Somehow it caught his eye, and so we sat down and watched the first episode, and we're kind of now hooked. We do need to, and technically we've only watched the first episode. And it really, the key thing that brought us into it was Maggie Smith. So we need to sit down and watch the continuing saga of Downton Abbey. No spoilers, please. I know they're all dead in the end. It's something like that. So that's kind of one of the directions that I'll be spending some of my summer watching. Although I have to say I'm still not back into television watching as much as I used to be. I used to not, as like every night I would watch television. Now every night I watch YouTube shows about knitting and dyeing. And that's enough for me. You know what I don't like? I don't like reality TV shows of any kind. But I like blogs, which is kind of like a reality TV show, only it's with real reality. You know, the thing I don't like, I remember watching Survivor when it came out, and I was really kind of caught up with it to begin with, but then probably about halfway through was like, it seems like it is that the whole show was playing on the worst aspects of humanity, of pitting people against one another in a situation where in reality they would probably want to work with each other. And so it very quickly became very apparent to me that it's like, this isn't reality. It's not scripted, but the situations are produced. They're not natural. They're not actually real. It's just not scripted. So you don't have to pay people. You don't have to pay writers. They don't have to pay actors. They have people willingly come in and, oh, this is a situation you want me to create? Sure, I can do that. That's why I don't watch The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Survivor, Big Brother. For that matter, I don't watch like Gordon Ramsay. Can't stand him. I'm sorry, I really can't stand him. He's probably a lovely person a lovely human being in person. I can't stand his shows because every time I see him, it seems like he's being cruel simply because he can. He's cruel to people, and I don't think that's very productive. So I don't watch him. I don't watch Gordon Ramsay. I don't like reality TV. The very first reality TV I watched that I remember watching was Real World on MTV. I still liked those original shows, and occasionally we'll go back and watch some of those things. I'll look them up and watch them because they seemed, yes, looking back, yes, they were very much produced reality TV, but I don't know. I liked those. I don't like what reality TV became, and so I don't watch reality TV in any way. Not even RuPaul's Drag Race. No, sorry. I don't know any of the contestants. I don't know any of the stories. I don't know any of the drama because it seems very contrived. And I don't care. I'm glad that I'm glad that the show is successful. I'm glad that it's celebrating LGBTQ people to some extent. Although a small niche, but it's an extremely important niche. And I'm glad that it's there. It just doesn't appeal to me, and so yeah, that's where I maybe am different from a lot of folks. Oh well, okay, so I'm into that whole blathery thing that happens occasionally as you start winding down the end of a vlog episode. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this to a close. Thank you for being here, everybody. I really do appreciate it. When you watch, I appreciate it when you click the little thumbs up icon and say that you liked the video. I really appreciate it when you hit the subscribe button and then take a look at future, the stuff that I've done already, and agree to be informed when I upload new content and come back and watch me again. I do appreciate that. I really do. I also love it when you give me comments on the show and on the channel and on what you're doing, what you're thinking about. Please, there's plenty of time if you want to jump into the Josh Ryks-Robinsky knit along that I'm doing. Jump in with that. That would be cool if you want to. So thanks. You can find me on social media. I have my Facebook page of Great Scott Knitting. I'm on Instagram as Great Scott Knitting. I'm on Ravelry as Great Scott KCMO. I also have a Ravelry group, and all of those will be linked in the show notes. So again, thank you so much for watching, and may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Good night.